Welcome back to AFTV and welcome to the Starting 11 show. Arsenal travel to Leicester. Can they build on last week? It was literally this time last week. We were all stressing at Villa Park as Arsenal crawled over the line with a little bit of help from Martinez. But it was deserved. It was a good performance. Can they build on it? Can they keep this title charge going? Because straight after that defeat, that win even, Man City went and drew at Nottingham Forest, and it's just left the season so finely poised. Man United in great form. So these games are important. We actually play 3 times in the Premier League before Man United kick a ball in the league as well. So plenty of opportunity as we enter the real kind of, it's the hard-hitting part of the season, this. Let's welcome our panel to look ahead at the Starting 11. We've got Laurie. Welcome, Laurie. Now, a bit more. Yes. Oh, that's it. Make some noise! Come on! We've got Keane Lee booing in the background. That's outrageous.
Your biggest fan over there.
I've never seen anything.
Hey, listen,
like
if he wasn't 6'6", I'd be having a word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's lovable deep down.
Yeah. That's my homie, man.
Let's welcome, of course, for the second time on AFTV, a very special guest, and you'll know him. It's Artan. Welcome, Artan.
What's goody?
Welcome, Artan.
Come on.
We had you just before Christmas.
Yeah.
It was a defeat.
It was.
To Juve.
It was.
But we played well in that game, to be fair. We didn't deserve the defeat.
Pre-season though, innit? You know what I'm saying? So
Mid-season, whatever.
Yeah. So, it wasn't actually the best of games, but that's why it's good to be back, you know what I'm saying?
Great to have you back. We're going to catch up with you as well in a little bit. 100%. Welcome. And of course, Charlene. Bringing the energy. Always bring the energy. How are you, Charlene?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, James?
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm excited for another game.
Oh, I love to hear that.
They come thick and fast, don't they? I mean, it's been a week. But it doesn't feel like it. It's
how many times have we been on these shows and said this is the biggest game of the season?
But every game.
Every time. Every time I'm like, no, I've got to watch this one. This is actually mad important. This one.
Yeah.
Every week because it is.
Yeah, this was the big one. Yeah. Carabao Cup third round, like it's huge. Trust me. Yeah. Anyway, as always, this watch along this show is brought to you by NordVPN. It is NordVPN's birthday month. I know, why just celebrate a day when you can celebrate the whole month? So they're offering a special gift for anyone who wants to be invincible. Click the link or scan the QR code for the AFTV special and mystery gift from NordVPN. Here's Ty and Julian, as always, with a quick word.
Why do you think you're unable to access new content on your favourite streaming services?
It's raining that day. We mustn't forget that it's been raining, so...
It's been raining! How did you end up with harmful malware on your laptop? Was that rain as well?
It's a disgrace!
What you need is NordVPN. Think of it as an umbrella, but just for your online activities.
I like umbrellas.
You'll be protected from harmful malware, viruses, and hackers.
Anything else?
It's super fast, and you can use it on up to 6 devices. Protected with complete freedom at the touch of a button.
You, sir, are not a disgrace. Thank you.
Remember, with the AFTV special, you can get a bonus gift.
Always great to hear from Ty and Julian, trying to help them out there. But look, let's get into it. Actually, I say let's get into it. No, we've got special guests. We've got Artan. We're going to catch up with you first. We saw you just before Christmas.
Yeah.
Good to catch up, and obviously you had the big hit as well. How's everything going since then?
Yeah, good, man. I mean, at the time, I think we had just dropped the song. So, like, it must have been, like, a few days. We've done, like, 14 million Spotify streams since then, so it's crazy. So
wow,
that's unbelievable.
Thank you to everyone supporting the song. So yeah, and then we just dropped a remix with Young Gravy. If anyone knows Young Gravy, some crazy American rapper, like he's like a proper character in it. So like it's Young Gravy. You can, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, probably not, but he's famous for like dating MILFs and just like being just that guy in it. So but yeah, man, it went really well. I've just been so busy. I'm working on a mixtape right now. So just been, yeah, man, and just trying to like stay on top of the Arsenal right now because I actually couldn't watch the Villa game, but I was getting all the updates on my phone. And then I was kind of like, oh, this is a weird one. But then when I saw Man City, I was like, if we've got an opportunity to win this league, this is it. Like, this is
Did it reignite a belief that weekend?
Yeah, like, but you know, like, it sometimes worries me a little bit because I'm also like, all right, we've been given this luck. We actually have to take it now. And I want Jesus back. Like, I really want him back because, like, maybe, I don't know if it's too soon now, but at least like in a couple games, like I think we need a full fit Jesus back, and then you know what I'm saying, things can hopefully pick up. But
what have you made of Arsenal? Because you know, since we caught up, there was when we saw you, the narrative going into the return to Premier League football was how are Arsenal going to do without Jesus? How are they going to do with this, you know, break in momentum? And actually, Arsenal came out flying. You know, they beat West Ham 3-1, having been 1-0 down. Scored 4 at Brighton, and we know what season they're having. Okay, the draw with Newcastle, but easily could have won that game. Win away at Tottenham, beat Man United at home. And it's only really after that there was a little bit of a blip where, you know, Arsenal weren't good enough, but to a degree, there were other factors to do with those results as well. And then they respond with a big win at Villa. Kind of where, like, it's been an absolute rollercoaster since we caught up, which doesn't feel like that long ago.
It actually has. I mean, what I would say is that if we didn't buy Jorginho, I think we could be in a very, very sticky situation.
So you're happy with the Jorginho signing?
I was ecstatic about it.
Oh, really? Okay,
honestly, like, I was super happy about it.
So were you, Laura? You were ecstatic about Jorginho, weren't you? I remember you were singing Jorginho. Oh, no, I must have mistaken you with someone else.
I wasn't excited.
No.
But, you know, hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to be
what's out
proven
there?
wrong.
I wasn't excited either. I joke, but I wasn't either.
I was, and the main reason why is he's a proven player. Like he's a similar position to Partey. He's like World Cup, for example. But for me, mainly it was just like I don't know who else in that position we could get. Like, but we need someone. Like, there's no doubt. Like I said from the start of the season, if Partey gets injured, we're done. Like we that was my opinion. Genuinely, we're done. And I think Jorginho's the best of the bunch that we could get. And I think, yeah, man, he's a London player. Like, for me, I thought it was great. I thought it was great signing. And I'm hoping, obviously, he's scored that screamer. You know what I'm saying? Big up Martinez as well. But yeah, man, I've got faith in him. And I actually think he wants to integrate in the squad well and can play the position that he's been allocated to play.
Oh, I believe he's come with the right attitude for sure.
Yeah.
But you've now raised a really interesting question around the lineups and going into this game, Charlene. There are rumours, like before Man City, rumours of fitness here and there, but this on the good side, that Partey's with the squad. There are even rumours that actually Arsenal travelled with a man extra than they normally would for a game like this. And that perhaps suggests that there's a fitness test for Thomas Partey or whatever. I think the account has leaked lineups that seem to be pretty accurate with this kind of stuff. Firstly, are you hopeful of seeing Partey? And if so, does he just get his place back in the team?
Well, firstly, the fact that he's actually travelled, I'm actually happy because when Partey's out of the side, it's just like, no, we need this guy to be fit. Like, he is absolutely fundamental and key. But after that performance from Jorginho last week, I think he done really well, and I was really proud of him and also happy for him to get that goal, even though it was an own goal for Martinez. But I actually like Jorginho, just like Artan. I think he is a great addition to the side. And if Partey is fit, yes, I do love and adore Partey, but I really don't want him to just be rushed back into the team, especially if we have got another option who's delivering. Jorginho got man of the match last week as well. So, you know, leave Jorginho. For me personally, I'll say start Jorginho, and if we need to, Partey can be an option to come off the bench. But just please do not rush him back. We need him fit and good.
How are you looking at this? Because Charlene raises a great point there. There's sort of so many elements to this. Jorginho played really, really well. So, you know, what kind of message do you send if you're Mikel Arteta by just dropping in the minute Partey's fit? But then on the other hand, are you sending a good message saying, look, it's not going to take just 1 or 2 good performances to displace a player like Partey. You know, he's crucial. Do you look at rushing Partey back as a factor? You know, how are you looking at it if you've got 2 fully fit players there?
You know what, James? I'm going to be slightly controversial, not for the first time in my life. And I'm going to say this. You're right what you said about Jorginho, Charlene. And you're right, I wouldn't drop him. I would assess Partey in the lead up to this game. Obviously, they would have assessed him, seen how fit he is, have a chat with him. I'm looking at Xhaka and thinking, you might be the one to lose out here.
Yeah.
You know? But then that would have to be after he's assessed Partey in training, because obviously, like I said, they would have done all the tests and would have spoke to him and said, look, how you feeling? You know what I mean? Are you up to it? You know what I mean? Will you be able to deliver? But Xhaka, for me, and listen, I'm an advocate of Xhaka. I've fought his corner several times in the past and the fans are having a pop at him. But I've noticed there has been a slight depreciation in his performances. So I might be tempted to look at that position and say I might want to start with Partey and Jorginho as opposed to Xhaka.
If I'm to be really boring and tactical about it, I kind of get it, right? Because, you know, Xhaka's the one who's struggling for a little bit of form. Why not mix it up? But the way we line up with a midfield three, where kind of, you know, you got one at 6, which is Partey or Jorginho, and then you've got Odegaard and Xhaka either side. If you drop Xhaka, then I don't know which one of Partey or Jorginho is going to play that box-to-box role that Xhaka plays. And that's my only concern. I will say, I never thought Xhaka himself could even play that role. So there you go. I mean, maybe Arteta can spring a surprise. I never thought White would be a right-back. So there are players in this team that are doing roles I never expect them to be able to do. But I just don't know naturally, do you go for Jorginho because he's probably got a little bit more in the final third in terms of creativity and a pass? Or do you go for Partey, who's a little bit more box-to-box? He's got the energy, he's got the dynamism, he's played that position for Atletico Madrid in the past. So I don't know who you'd look to if you're going to take Laurie's approach to drop Xhaka.
It's a good problem to have. That's what I'd say.
It is.
It's a good problem to have.
There's no natural answer though.
And I don't think we've had that problem that good problem for a few years. Like we've not had this like, oh, do we start him or him? It's pretty much like we've got to start an 11, and anything other than that is just crap.
You make an excellent point about the competition for places. I've always been of this view that it's the squads that win the leagues rather than the first 11 or the starting 11. So if you need to tinker, for want of a better word, and make changes here and there, I mean, we could go further up the pitch. The ongoing debate about Martinelli and Trossard, who do you start in this game?
Then you've got Smith Rowe coming back.
You've got Smith Rowe coming back.
If he's back now, what are you saying? Are you putting him even on the bench? Are you starting him or
Smith Rowe?
Yeah.
Oh, he takes a nice spot on the bench until he's ready to get some minutes in a game that hopefully at some point this season, although with the tension in the title race, I don't know about this, but if there's a game where we're comfortably ahead at some point, you give him 20 minutes and you see how he does. But actually, I've got a little bit of a potential bombshell news around Eddie Nketiah's fitness, and I don't know where this has come from, but Rocky Nico, who's been on the channel, was on a supporters club. Go check him out at Rocky Nico. And by the way, he's great for things like, you know, vintage Arsenal shirts as well and stuff. He tweeted something. Yeah, hearing Eddie isn't fit, there's only one man to play down the middle, and he's saying Gabriel Martinelli. But that's going to be interesting. If Eddie Nketiah's not, I don't know where that information's come from, but you know, he's been on the channel and Rocky, massive Arsenal fan. So he might have read that somewhere, or there's a rumour going around maybe that Eddie's not fully fit. So
I must admit, I haven't heard that prior.
I hadn't heard that rumour myself, so we'll just keep an eye on it. But I mean, then if that is a situation, and by the way, I don't think Eddie Nketiah's form has been brilliant anyway.
No.
So if you're looking at Trossard, Martinelli, who would you play up front?
Up front?
Yeah.
Well, if Eddie can't make it, then yeah, you would imagine that Martinelli
over Trossard.
But then Trossard could go out on the wing.
So Trossard has played up front. Like the thing with Martinelli is, I think we see a player that looks like he can absolutely fit that position, but he's actually not. He's never been given the minutes there by Arteta. Whereas with Trossard, he's actually played there for Brighton.
I think what Martinelli gives you, if you're playing through the middle, is blistering pace.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's always going to unsettle defenders. And we know for a fact that the back two of Leicester, Faiz and what's the other guy's name?
Suter.
Yeah, they're both reputedly quite slow. So that could make sense.
That's interesting. Well, what would you do? Trossard, Martinelli up front. Where would you look?
I'd have to say Trossard on the left, like and Martinelli up front. Like
Interesting.
That's just, I don't know. Maybe I've not watched enough of Trossard up front to actually make that decision. But I just think, like, from what I've seen, like you said, Martinelli on the counter attack, for example, Martinelli, his pace is just on a next level. Yeah. And I know, he can score goals. I love what he does on the side, like, you know, with his dribbling and his, you know, drawing out players. But I think Trossard does such a good job there on the left. Why not put Martinelli up front? I would try it with Trossard, but
it's interesting. We're talking about Martinelli and his blistering pace through the middle. Is that I watched a rerun. It was highlights of. Remember we went to Chelsea?
Yeah, come on, what a goal!
And Martinelli had that run. And he just basically blitzed through the centre of the Chelsea and left them all for dead. Do you know who it was, the player that he left trailing in his wake that day?
Was it Kante?
It was Jorginho.
Was it?
Oh, really?
No, Kante.
I was looking at it, I was like, right, that's Jorginho. And Jorginho was like, and Martinelli just blazed him. But anyway,
I will say that's the one thing about Jorginho is that even in his first few games, I think he played really well. There are times where if they've just driven at him, they have got round him. That is the one thing about him. But he has done well. Average bedroom producer, good name, says that Trossard is starting up front and Nketiah is out. So that's another. That's two people saying it.
so Martinelli on the wing then, presumably.
Let's keep an eye on it. I've not heard a lot. And this is the kind of thing David Ornstein would have reported on or something. I don't know, Eddie Nketiah is not in the squad. Something like that. So I'm
I do like what Artan says though. I'm in agreement. I would have gone for Trossard out wide and Martinelli through the middle.
I'm different to all. I'm going Trossard up front, Martinelli left. What about you, Sharon?
For me, I would put Trossard on the left. I feel like Martinelli's been struggling a bit on that left-hand side, and it's sort of been unbalancing, in comparison to the right-hand side. So for me, just to keep that balance and have that strength both on the right and the left-hand side, I'd put Trossard on the left and then let Martinelli play through the middle.
I changed my mind. I would go Martinelli up front.
Yeah, because look at the goal last week that he scored.
Exactly.
Look at that goal last week.
Exactly.
That was similar to what I was talking about with the Chelsea goal.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed about Martinelli, and I'm sure you guys have seen this as well, is that when he breaks like that, he's very quick with the ball at his feet.
Just the way he runs.
Yeah. Well, not all players are like that. They're very quick, not with the ball, but with the ball they're not as quick. Some players are equally as quick with the ball. And Martinelli is that guy.
Noel wants Trossard up front. And Jabulo says Trossard in the 9. Drop Eddie, start Trossard, says Kaneki. A few people calling for Eddie to be dropped. Some people saying Jorginho. Well, one said Jorginho, let me find it. Someone said Jorginho. Agree with Laurie. Jorginho at 8. So he wants him in that Shaka role, says Mark. But then Mimi replies with Jorginho is not an 8. Please tell me when he has played there. I think that'd be my argument. I've never seen him play there, whereas at least with Partey, there's a history of him being more of a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's even played as a 10 international level. So, yeah, we'll see about that. 40 side says, can we stop the Martinelli-Trossard debate? Nketiah should be dropped and Trossard or Martinelli to play in the 9 role. So, yeah, that came in before our discussion. From the year 2040 says... what's it like in the year 2040? Says, we're not a counter-attacking... Have we won any titles? That's all I want.
That's what
How many more like?
I just want to know if over the next 17 years we're going to pick up a Champions League or a Premier League or anything like that. We're not a counter-attacking team for a majority of the game for blistering pace to be needed. That's a good point. We talk about blistering pace and you can get in behind teams, but I guess Rashford, to be fair, showed what you can do when you've got pace against Leicester, right?
Yeah.
So there is
definitely.
that.
Look at Manchester United when they start Rashford through the middle, as of when posed if they start Weghorst or something like that. This is the kind of thing we're talking about. And I don't want to necessarily compare Trossard with Weghorst, but you know what I'm saying? Pace is that one thing that you speak to any defenders. I played a lot of football. I did play in defence, but not through the middle of the defence. But the one thing that will always unsettle defenders is pace, raw pace, because it's difficult to set up for that. You know what I mean? You get defenders thinking cautiously, you know what I mean? You get them scared, nervous, apprehensive. So if you've got that in your team, try and utilise it as much as possible, So I would go for Martinelli through the middle and I would be happy to have Trossard on the wing. Now, if it had been normal circumstances and Eddie's fit and you had to choose between Trossard and Martinelli, I would probably go with what the manager did last week. Start Trossard and then you can bring Martinelli on later.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
But that's,
I agree. So on the note of pacey attackers, what are you saying about Balogun? At the end of the season, are we bringing him back?
He's got a part to play. I think he's got a part to play next year.
Yeah.
I really do. And
what does that mean for Nketiah though?
Well, I think Arsenal need to be quite ruthless now and go, okay, we've got Eddie who's come in and done a really good job in the squad, just signed a new contract. You've got Balogun who... Let's face it, his value would be through the roof. If he were anywhere else, it just seems to be that Arsenal can't sell players. I think you do one of two things. You either tie him down to a contract and then maybe send him out on loan to the Premier League, see how he does there, or you sell him. But by selling him, I'm talking 50, 60
Oh
million.
yeah, no, 100%.
Easily. You know, he's top scorer in France. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it goes
yeah.
for a lot of money.
And as far as Eddie's concerned, I've always said it's a big season for Eddie. I mean,
Yeah, massive.
What do you give him on a rating out of 10? Out of the job that he's had to do since he's come in, what are you giving him out of 10?
For effort, I'll give him a 10. But
Yeah.
in terms of his goal scoring,
For results and like,
For
just in
doing the
general.
job we need him to do,
Yeah.
I'll give him a 7.
Okay.
see,
Yeah.
the problem with Eddie is, right, let's be honest, a striker, your currency is goals. You
Yeah.
can run around, do as much tracking back and pressing as you want. In the final analysis, people are going to say, how many Premier League goals you got, mate? At the moment, Eddie's got 4. Now,
Yeah.
I remember doing a show with Curtis a few months back, shout out to Curtis, and we were talking about, with Gabriel Jesus coming in, what would be your minimum you would expect for Eddie to get by the end of the season? I think we said a minimum of 10 Premier League goals. He's got 4 at the moment, but there's still plenty of time to get those goals. So I agree with James. For effort and for commitment and all the rest of it, I score him highly, but he does need to be a bit more clinical. So
He's
this is a
done better
big
than
work.
people would have thought.
Do you know, for me, I'm going to give Eddie an 8
Okay.
because, you know, it's a big role that he's had to step into.
Yeah.
And obviously he hasn't had the smoothest ride with it
No.
all as well, you know, for all the criticism and everything as well. It has been quite challenging, but I think he's really stepped up to the mark.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's delivered and turned up when we need him to. Yeah, he's dipped a little bit in terms of scoring goals, but, you know, it's all part of the process.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I agree. I'm the same. I'd have to give an 8. I can't give him a 10 because you know
Still
what I'm saying. If
more
he moves
work
like,
to be done.
Yeah, if he was moving like Haaland or some banging in goals,
Yeah.
that's a 10. But like for
Exactly.
what you're doing, fair play, 8. Like, but what I would say is, if we were losing games, then I'd probably drop him. Like, you know, but we're not, so I don't want to. I can't really say that.
I think it's just that 9 role is, especially in this Arteta system, it reminds me of Firmino and Liverpool. It is about bringing everything together. Now, what I think Eddie's done really well is press,
Yeah.
and which Jesus does brilliantly as well. But also, he's got some goals and some big goals, and he's been getting himself into big positions. You know, some of the chances he had against Man City, the goals against Man United, even at Villa. So he's always a threat. I just think he doesn't tie it together like Jesus does.
Yeah.
Now, people might say, yeah, but no one's like Jesus. I hear that, but I still think a Trossard or a Martinelli would tie it together more than Nketiah. Will they get in as many good goal-scoring positions as he does? I don't know. Maybe. They're talented. So we'll see. If he is out today, we're going to learn a lot about whoever starts up front. But if he's in the team, then we know that Arteta trusts him. And he left him on against Villa when he wasn't playing that well. But ultimately, presses, wins the ball back, creates a chance for Odegaard, got into another goal-scoring position himself, should have done better with the opportunity, but was on the pitch when we got the win. So he's doing his part, Eddie Nketiah, for sure.
in terms of like him all tying it together, like how you just compared him to other players, do you think like with him getting more of those Premier League minutes, you know, that will just sort of come with experience?
Maybe. I just think there are certain players who can naturally do things, and he can't naturally do that for me.
Yeah.
He's doing really well. He's doing really well to be the kind of striker Arteta wants him to be. But I think really he wants to be an on-the-shoulder striker, waiting for the ball to fall into an area, taking on players, like playing with a bit of instinct. But he's doing really well, and you can't fault his work rate whatsoever. Let me go through some super chats as well and other comments as well. I'd try Martinelli up front, says JJ. Marty has had a rest, he is ready, says D3 Cav. Of course, he didn't start against Villa. Gunasan says, James, where did you guys get that Arsenal bear? This one here.
No, it's so cute.
Great, isn't it? Glad you like it. We have just been informed that it's a company called DPO Atlia. They are a friend of the channel. We will have a space panel where you can inquire and order in the next week or so. So do look out for that. There's another one over there that's fantastic. We'll get it for the watch along. But yeah, really, really cool. And I love the colour. How cool is the colour?
I know, that's what caught my eye straight away.
It's great. So I'm glad you've noticed. There are rumours that apparently there's no James Maddison starting for Leicester today.
Interesting.
Really?
So I will
that's
have
big for Arsenal.
That's massive. So we'll see about that in a second. I was catching up with a friend in the week. We both did our sports journalism course together. He's a big Leicester fan, goes a lot. He said that actually Dennis Pratt's been playing really well as well. So we'll see if he maybe comes in centrally for them in the absence of a James Maddison. Let's see. Might be Yuri Tielemans, to be fair. Back from the year 2040, he's back with another super chat. Says centrally, I mean. So this goes back to his super chat where he says that blistering pace won't be needed. I think it means down the middle, so yeah, I see what you're saying. Sean Mark says, how about Vieira taking Xhaka's box-to-box role? We haven't talked about that, and apparently
he's playing well. I saw that quote from Arteta.
Yeah, so he's making it really hard for him, the way he's training.
Giving me a headache. I was going to do it in his accent in a minute. There,
Go on.
I can't do it. But he said, yeah, he's giving me a headache. Like he's playing so well in training, and I think it's the same like thing about like Martinelli on the left or Trossard or whatever. Or do you know what though? Like you can't take out Odegaard. For me, you can't take out Xhaka.
Yeah.
I feel like I know physicality isn't everything, but like, listen, Xhaka's.
I know what you mean.
It's not. It's a different player playing the same role, and I can't change it unless Xhaka starts doing really badly.
Yeah,
like I can't.
I kind of echo that. He's not playing terribly. He's just not playing as well as he was before.
Yeah, I said earlier, I think the levels have depreciated a little bit, and it's noticeable, but it's not massive. But,
No,
he's not hit the heights that he had been.
I would have said pre-World Cup when everyone's talking about Saliba, Jesus, Saka. For me, I was saying Xhaka was our player of the season. I just thought the work he was doing, he drops into the back four to make it a 5 sometimes. He runs into the front 5 and he's getting onto crosses in the box. He's playing that box-to-box role so well. He's scoring goals. He was creating chances as well. I just think that's dropped to now. He's gone back to the Xhaka we knew before, not in a bad way, just he's keeping everything ticking.
Yeah.
But when you're chasing a title, you need players that are more than just keeping things ticking.
See, this is where the manager. This is where the manager you really earn your corn now, because like I said, you're seeing these players week in, week out. You're seeing him in training. He said himself how Vieira has impressed him in training. It's those little differentials in it. You think to yourself, let me try this guy. Let me try that guy. I mean, going a bit back down the pitch, Tomiyasu and Ben White. That's another conundrum.
Yeah.
What does he do there? Because
I thought Tomiyasu did well when he came on against
Villa,
by the way.
He did. So sometimes you have to look at who you're up against and think, well, this guy's best attributes might be more suited to this game, and vice versa. So.
Arteta is still here. Says from the year 2040. Thank you for your super chats. I appreciate it.
Reminds me of that song. Said I've been to the year 3000.
What?
Not much has changed, but they lived underwater.
What a banger! Oh my god!
Yeah, I love that.
Might have to
song.
remix and sample that into a drill song or something.
Yeah, get me a feature on it.
Do you know what? These days, there's so many. See, I don't know anything about music terminology, but what's it called? Is it a sample when you take a song?
Everyone's done it. Do you know what it is? This last year, like you were saying,
you gonna sample Busted?
I might do.
Oh, you need to. That'd be a banger.
You never know. No, but like you.
If you do, I'll hear it one day. I'll be like,
yeah. I to that.
I played a little part in that.
Dislike.
Yeah, I'm not sure people will thank me,
but yeah, everyone's just sampling in the music world. The last year and a half, everyone's just taken an old sample, like an old melody, sampled it, made it into a drill song, and that's just been music. It's been
It's catchy though, especially like when it's one of them ones that you used to vibe to, and it just catches your ears, and you're like, yeah.
It is, but there's all the kids have never heard these songs before. You know what I'm saying? They're like,
depends on your audience.
Yeah, they're like, that Digga D song, and I'm like, no, it's not originally a Digga D song.
Yeah,
it used to be. It was like Mary J. Blige. You know what I mean?
Who's Mary J. Blige?
Okay, so Trossard starts. Partey Nketiah on the bench. Zinchenko captains Arsenal, but the lineup isn't quite out yet. That's come through from James Benj.
I hope
where these people,
okay.
I want to know where they're getting their information.
No, the way James was reading it, I feel like the 11 was out. All right, go on.
Okay.
So,
James Benj, his info might have been wrong from that tweet, because Kaya Kainak has just said that Ramsdale's in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko in the back four, Jorginho, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, and Nketiah, Martinelli is the 11.
Martinelli starts.
All right.
So,
but what is it?
Is that the official 11?
That just came through from James Bench. Let's just see what Arsenal tweet, because that's from Kaya Kainak.
It's here. I'm not gonna.
The lineup is out from Arsenal apparently, and we've got the Leicester 11. What is going on? We're getting different tweets from different places.
It's all going crazy.
And now the Arsenal 11.
Wait, no, I'm scared.
The Arsenal 11 is Trossard up front. No, Eddie. What is going on?
Eddie's okay.
Is Eddie on the bench though?
Eddie's on the bench.
He's on the bench.
Well, that means he's been dropped.
So
that means he's been dropped.
Yeah,
Kai and James Benj will be having words at the press office.
Right,
What's going on here?
Let's start from the top.
Ramsdale is in goal. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel Zinchenko, Jorginho, Xhaka, Ødegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Trossard.
So there's no Partey either then.
There is Partey is on the bench. Smith Rowe is on the bench. Nketiah is on the bench. Vieira, Holding, Kivior, Tomiyasu, Tierney, and Turner.
Okay.
So I just want to say then.
We've got 3 different lineups in the space of 1 minute.
Mate, messing with our blood pressure.
So
right
it
here.
would appear from what you've read out
That-
Eddie's been dropped then, because if he was injured.
No, but it
He's
could be.
probably
It could be
not
not
fully
quite.
fit.
It might be not quite there. Like you're not like Partey. He might not be quite there. He's not
No,
necessarily.
but I often find that when these things happen, they are dropped, but then the manager might try to soften the blow by saying he's carrying a bit of a knock in training. So, you know what I
I
mean?
hear you. Yeah.
Rather than say, because managers don't like to say he's been dropped. So they might say, oh, well, he's carrying a bit of a knock in training. We'll see how it goes, blah, blah, blah.
But isn't that? Couldn't you take that as like a? If you're the player, couldn't you take that as a bit of a par because you're like, well, it wasn't. It was a tactical change. So why he's basically softening and saying you're dropped. Like,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
my
I would-
interpretation of that is that he's been dropped.
I'd rather a manager say no. Oh, it's a tactical thing.
Well, we're going to find
You know
out.
what I mean?
He'll do a pre-match interview. We'll find out. Here's the Leicester 11. Ward in goal. Castagna, Soutart, Fass and Christensen in the back 4. Dewsbury Hall, Ndidi and Pratt in midfield. Tete, Barnes, Iheanacho. So no James Maddison. I'm just going through his super chats before I lose them.
Is Maddison on the bench? Sorry.
Yeah, who's on the bench?
He's not. 40 side says, I like Eddie, but he has had 4 to 5 very average games and missed clear chances and gets defended. Marte, no support from Zinchenko. People calling for him to be dropped. Same standard, please. Zinchenko's going to captain the side. We're going to talk about it in a sec. Eddie scored 4 tap-ins and everyone overhyped his contribution, says Gunner down under. That's harsh. When Jesus plays, we get more out of the whole attack. When Eddie plays, our whole attack compromises Souttar's capabilities. Jesus in goals come from everywhere. Eddie, not so much. Sorry, I'm trying to get these all in before, because I did miss a couple.
I'd be a little worried if I was Eddie, you know. I would be.
Gunner down under also says if Trossard's up top, it's a false 9. I think maybe Martinelli and Trossard on the left. Okay, let's just gather our thoughts. There's a load of information here. Partey's on the bench. Yay, that's good.
Yeah.
Jorginho starts though. So clearly they're not rushing him. That's probably the situation. Eddie's on the bench. Trossard up front, it looks like it's the way they're going to go. Just purely from the way it's written in the lineup, but we will see, of course, in the game. Nelson's not on the bench, as Quatchy's just mentioned here. Spot on.
Reece Nelson.
Yeah, Reece Nelson's not on the bench, so that could be an injury as well.
He's only just come back.
Yeah,
Vieira, Smith Rowe, all on the bench, and Zinchenko is captain. You got
What?
You got Xhaka out there. You've got Gabriel.
Ødegaard playing?
You've got Ramsdale. You got White, but he's gone with Zinchenko. Oh, hold on.
It's Ødegaard playing.
Hold on. Yeah, Ødegaard is playing.
So why is he taking the captaincy of Ødegaard then?
Well, that was what James Bench said. Let me just see if he
What?
tweeted something else.
I'll say all right.
Because that seems
That seems
odd.
a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
Right?
On the
Let me just see. I'm going to check see if he's tweeted something else. Arsenal gave the armband to Zinchenko as a mark of respect and love on the first anniversary of the start of the war in
Okay,
Ukraine.
that
Okay,
makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Okay.
because my next question was going to be, had I not been privy to that information, has there been some kind of bust-up between Ødegaard and the manager?
Oh yeah, we don't.
So I'm glad that
no, I definitely don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the last thing I wanna be hearing.
that would be the obvious,
Yeah,
wouldn't say conclusion, obvious thoughts, because why would you have him in the team and give the captaincy to Zinchenko?
Yeah,
But what
yeah.
you said there makes sense.
Makes sense.
Barry
yeah.
says you're having a mare, James. I absolutely am. I'm having a shot there.
Is this like?
Should we recap everything?
Yeah, let's just
Yeah,
make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
everything
yeah,
is
yeah.
clarified.
One more time, because I've had a shocker, and you'll be happy to know I'm not. I'm not running the
It's
watch.
pre-match nerves.
I know.
pretty much
It's actually making me nervous.
I'm
My
rattled
toes
in
are
the face
closed.
of a title race. I'm rattled. So let's recap everything. The starting 11: Aaron Ramsdale in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and captain Zinchenko. as we just read out there, confirmed by James Benj, who was spot on with the starting 11 as well, just ahead of time. And the news there that Zinchenko is the captain is a sign of respect and love for obviously the 1 year anniversary of the Ukraine war.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's such a beautiful thing to do.
Jorginho keeps his place alongside Granit Xhaka and Martin Odegaard in midfield, but Partey is on the bench. Martinelli, Saka and Trossard comes in. Well, no, Trossard actually keeps his place. Partey comes in, but it's like Trossard will be leading the line. Turner, Tierney, Tomiyasu, Kivior, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Partey and Nketiah on probably the strongest Arsenal bench I've seen in a long time. The Leicester 11, Ward in goal, Castagna, Sutar, Fass and Christensen in a back four. Dewsbury, Hall and Ndidi probably at the base with Pratt, Tete and Barnes behind Iheanacho. Tete's made a real difference as he's arrived. No James Maddison, he's not on the bench. Iverson, Ricardo, Amate, Thomas, Mendy, Samare, Tielemans, Vardy and Daka. So they've got some
I must say,
firepower on the
I
bench
must
as
say
well.
that the absence of Maddison I see
Huge.
as massive.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this right now. To me, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was picking Arsenal to win anyway. No
game
Maddison
changer.
for Leicester, their best player, the most influential player, a guy that always seems to play well when we play Leicester, even when we've beaten them.
Yeah.
To me, that's it.
Yeah, he's the guy that you want to pass. If you want to pass the ball to him, like whether he's deep or he's up, it doesn't matter. Just get the ball to him. He's a playmaker.
I remember when Maddison was strongly linked with Arsenal, and James will tell you, me and you had conversations, didn't we? This was before Odegaard got signed.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Maddison?
sorry,
Who was
man.
it though? It was everyone was saying Maddison or
Odegaard.
was it
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Maddison
And there's
or
a lot of
Odegaard?
people,
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
included, that would say, listen, I'll
Yeah.
take Maddison, man.
Yeah.
I love Maddison.
Yeah.
I love him. But
He-
at the time I wanted Odegaard, but that's more because I felt he was more what we needed. But you know, now the team's evolved. Yeah, I love Maddison. We'll end with this final super chat, which I've lost. I'm having an absolute shocker. Here it is. Ant says, in the Champions League, do you think we can compete with the likes of PSG, etc.? Saw a little bit of Champions League action this week. Yeah, I think this Arsenal team can compete in the Champions League. I think the English clubs are doing a little bit of a disservice because, you know, people will start looking at it going, wow, is the Premier League level actually what it's been in previous years? But I just think Liverpool haven't been at it, Chelsea haven't been at it, and you've got the two informed teams in the league right now are Arsenal and Man United. They're in the Europa because of what they've done in previous years.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, my answer to that is, of course we can. At the current moment in time, we are the best team in the country. So that answers the question itself. What the question should be is, James, what did you think of the draw? Arsenal against Sporting Lisbon.
Look, I'm indifferent to it. A lot of people were saying that's a good draw. I'm going based off pure, name and stature of a club like Sporting Lisbon. It's actually not Sporting Lisbon, they are Sporting, a club like Sporting. It's whatever. They've got some players I recognise. They've got some good players. I thought they looked good in the Champions League, but they're not having the league season I think they might have hoped.
I think they're fourth in the Portuguese league.
Yeah, so cool. Is what it is. I'm sort of indifferent.
The reason why I asked as well is because myself and Robbie and Cecil did a show yesterday covering the Europa League draw, and not for the first time in our lives, me and Robin had a big argument because I was saying for that game I'd like to see us go strong, and he was saying wholesale change, and I'm saying no, man. And it's interesting because I went to the gym last night and there was a couple of guys in there that had watched the show, and they said that, yeah, Laurie, we agree with you, man. So what do you guys think? Should we go strong, or would you like to see a load of changes?
I think there's a balance in there, and I know that's sitting on the fence, but I think if you
It's
start,
not like you to do that, James.
I know. Right? Yeah. Now, how can I piss off nobody? I think you go, Jorginho for Partey, Vieira for Odegaard, Trossard and Nketiah for Jesus and Martinelli, something like that. Yeah, you're gonna have some big players starting, but then the second leg, Trossard and Nketiah start, but in place of Saka. So
in other words, you're like me. You'd have a few changes, but essentially you go strong.
Yeah, what do we sign Kivior for 20 million for if you can't play this game?
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
That's what I think.
But that's
how many
I
changes?
don't even say anything else. That's literally what I think as well.
Do you go wholesale though?
Do you know what?
Robbie's saying go wholesale. I'm saying
no, not wholesale.
I agree with you, Laurie. I would go strong, to lighten the load. just take that pressure off our back a bit.
We don't want to get knocked out of the Europa League because we're all kind of all eggs in the Premier League basket, which I understand. And then we have a bit of a shocker. We fall 5 points behind City, and we're sitting there going, hold on, we had an opportunity of silverware here, yeah? And I know that all eyes are on the Premier League, and rightly so. But if Arsenal were to fall short, which can happen, because it's Man City, you know, it can happen.
Well, Robbie
you still want to reflect on this season now.
Robbie was making the point that that particular game, you got Fulham that following Sunday, and I'm like,
don't we have a bit of a break?
No, I think it's pretty congested.
We played them on the Thursday.
Oh, Thursday, and then we've got the game on the Saturday.
Sunday. So he's saying,
let's not take Fulham lightly, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you seeing what Fulham's doing?
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying, don't take Sporting Lisbon lightly either.
Exactly.
Yeah, do you know what I do? I just won't play Partey.
Yeah,
I'm not playing. Man, I can't, because that was what is going to happen. Same way when you go World Cup, I know who's getting. I even said, Jesus, does he get injured like that? I'm not too sure, but I was like, I know Partey will get injured when he. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll jinx it this time and he'll come back. But no, of course. So now I'm like, with this is like, it's like written in the stars. Okay, cool. We go Europa League, someone gets injured. Now we're like, oh, okay. It's all part of like this mad story that is like written up, and it's like.
It's been quite alright so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's take it back to the Leicester game for the last couple of minutes. We'll get some predictions as well. But before we do, of the lineups, maybe people feel more confident, less confident. They've obviously got no James Maddison, that is a massive player. But like I said, Leicester friend of mine said Dennis Pratt's been playing really well for them. Barnes has been getting a couple of goals recently. Tete's made a big impact. I think Iheanacho suits them well. Kind of where I just don't think this is a walkover at all. I know they lost 3-0 against United, but you know, look what they did to Tottenham. When they're on it, Leicester can.
Exactly.
Well, against United, they were the better team in the first half. Even Ten Hag said that.
Yeah. No, I think it was a bit unfortunate, really.
How you feeling, Charlie?
Do you know, I'm actually, like you're saying, don't take anyone lightly, you know, regardless of where they're sitting in the table and everything. On the same hand as well, we've got to realise, you know, we're Arsenal, we're in a title race, so we just got to be on it. I hope Eddie Nketiah's all right, because he's been, you know, fundamental for us. Obviously, everyone's got their mixed opinions, but I really do hope Nketiah's all right. I'm happy that Partey is back, but I'm happy with this starting 11. You know, I really do feel like it is enough quality there to go out and get the win today. And yeah, you know, not having Maddison for Leicester is a big blow for them. But, you know, they have got other threats like Harvey Barnes. He's on the starting 11, ain't he? And everything. So yeah, let's just go out there and just be solid from the get-go.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm still pretty confident, to be honest with you. Looking at no Maddison, I swear that they didn't have Maddison like last time we played them or something.
No, he scored a goal.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
was that last time then?
Because early in
I
the
just
season.
feel like we've missed that. Like basically, we've played him and he's not. He's not played when we've been playing. So I don't know. It gives me a lot of confidence. I know one player that wasn't in the lineup before, which is Ndidi, and the only reason why is because I was playing with him on Warzone.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
Bare late last night, so I know I had a feeling.
No, he's starting.
He's starting?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't say
That's
that.
good preparation.
No, that's hilarious. Are you serious?
Can we just go back and edit that out?
I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be happy to hear that he is playing.
He's captain.
Okay.
He's captain.
All right.
That was a joke, guys.
That was a joke. But either way, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling very confident. But yeah,
That is hilarious.
We got to win though, so you know.
Watch him drop a masterclass.
Yeah, he's gonna literally.
I'm with the other guys, to be honest. I'm with Charlene and Artan. I'm very confident about this game. I must admit, when I heard the news about no Maddison, that just made me go. My confidence went into overdrive. But I'm happy with the team. Although I do feel a little bit sorry for Eddie. I probably would have given him another chance to redeem himself, but he's gone with Trossard, so I'm not going to argue with that too much. But listen, let's be honest now. We are playing Leicester. They're 14th in the league. They're 14th in the league for a reason, which is over the course of the season, they've not been playing very well. They're coming off a loss, quite a big loss, 3-0 to United. Okay, they played well in the first half, but ultimately they still got turned over. We are top of the league. We had a great win last week. Okay, we arrived there, you know, a little dodgily, but we got there in the end. And the way we finished that game, getting that fourth goal, everyone going mad at the end, I would imagine the vibes and the confidence level at the moment is really high. And then we turn up today and find that Leicester's best player, Talisman, and captain is not playing. Come on, man.
Listen,
it's got to be 3 points.
I know what you mean, and
Not
that's,
unless.
you got to take advantage of these opportunities. But we'll see. We know that it can be tough, so we will see what they throw at us, Leicester, and what we throw at them. Shall we just remind ourselves of the starting line one more time? You've got it on your screens, but it is Ramsdale in goal. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko is captaining the side. Of course, the 1-year anniversary of the Ukraine war. Lovely touch from Arsenal. Xhaka, Jorginho, Odegaard with Martinelli, Saka. It looks like Trossard leading the line, and Nketiah on the bench. Is it an injury? Is it... we'll find out. Maybe Arteta's just rotating, and I think that's a good thing. I do think that is something
He got dropped.
I don't know if he did. I think it's an injury or it's rotation.
I don't think he's got dropped.
I reckon it could be something to do with his fitness or something. I don't think.
We'll see.
So why is he on the bench?
Because he could be fit, but just not to the heights to start.
They might have done a mad thing in training and been like, you know what, we're going to try this new system just for this kid, this one game. You never know.
Yeah.
All right,
They might be
all
trying
right,
something
okay,
else.
James, let me put this another way then. So if Eddie had scored like a couple of goals last week and say his fitness levels, as you say, had dropped, do you honestly think that he would have left him out and started line up today? Be honest.
Arteta might have been like...
Now, given what Charlene just said, you said, maybe
yeah.
his fitness levels are,
Yeah, so maybe he's not fit enough to play a full 90, but, he can be an option to come off the bench.
Well, you know what? We'll discuss this more in the watch along. Laurie's doing everything to stop me wrapping up this show. Look, good discussion, plenty to talk about, and more for everyone here to discuss as well. Robbie will be here as well to discuss. And remember that NordVPN is powering this watch along and can make you invincible by hitting the link in the description below. Remember, you can save money on your travels by shopping locally in your chosen destination. You just have to change the location in the app. There's over 5,000 servers to choose from. Hit the QR code or the link in the description below. Big thanks to everyone. Really interesting starting 11. We'll be back in about 15-20 minutes to discuss it in more detail. Come on, Arsenal. Big game. It's Leicester away. Let's
3
go.
points,
Let's
baby.
get it. Let's go. Let's go.
Woo.
Listen, things ain't getting any cheaper. So if you're traveling a lot like me and you want to save money, you can do that with NordVPN. Once you have NordVPN, you can explore a lot of different price options for things like flights, hotels, entertainment, anything you want. Just use NordVPN to change your location. Why pay international prices when you can pay local prices? We save literally hundreds of pounds every time we follow Arsenal on tour. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link to be invincible.